Guys, this episode, it was like kind of just okay. Into the last few minutes, I was shocked. Ready to Love reality recap. Stay tuned. Hi there, Simply Stuffies. Welcome back to the Simply Stacy YouTube channel. It is your girl Stacy, and we are in another week of the reality recap. And we are doing Ready to Love season number 6. On Call This season number 5. This is episode number, I believe it is episode number 5. And nope, sorry, this is episode number 6. And it is called The Backup Plan. I was like, okay, let's see what this has to give. So it starts off in the gentleman lounge with Tommy and all of the fellas. This is actually Donovan's first time in the gentleman's lounge. So he does mention that, like, okay, let's see how this goes and see what this is going to be about. So Tommy gives this analogy, y'all. When I say, I was like, Tommy, it's not making sense. Like, make it make sense. So he's like, like if you have a storm that comes and just causes this huge disaster, I want you to go out with the woman that you will rebuild with. This your backup plan. I'm like, make it make sense to me, because if number one is still alive, well, I'm going to go with the backup plan. So I was like, okay, Tommy, I guess you're trying to say that, I guess number one died in the storm, and so now I'm going to rebuild with somebody different. I was like, Tommy, I don't get it, but hey, we get the gist of what a backup plan is. So basically, he wanted the fellas to go out with their number 2 choices. They all are feeling somebody and they have been migrating toward them. But he's like, don't sleep on your backup plan. Like, somebody else might be there, because a lot of y'all number ones are the same. And what that mean? You're going to be left in the dirt if you ain't focusing on number 2. Okay, so Tori basically said, yeah, because he didn't have one. Remember, Sabrina was his end-all, be-all in the beginning. And then Clifton says, him and Dakia did have a little connection. But, of course, Joy is number 1. And, basically, he don't really feel that comfortable doing this, but he's going to go ahead and do it. Because think about it. They can't let the women know that they're going out with their number 2 choices, because then who going to be wanting to go out on a date with them if they already know that the only reason we're going out is because we're on number 2. So this is when all that little pillow talk or late night conversations, y'all can be sharing stuff. And we know on previous seasons, people found out stuff that happened in deliberations that they probably should not have found out about from whoever they were dating. First up is Eric. Eric is the chef. He is 44. And he says Dakia, of course, is his number 1. She was the first date he went on. And they have been vibing ever since. However, Carmen is there. Carmen and him go way back. They have been buddies. They flirt all the time. But they have never made this a thing. And since he knew her, he did not spend a lot of time getting to know her in this capacity. So he thinks that they need some more time. She basically thinks she is number 1 and that this is what this is. They have their little flirty band. He says she loves innuendos. He gives her some innuendos. And it does seem like they both like each other and they're vibing. But my thoughts are like, y'all have known each other all this time. There had to be moments where y'all both single, i.e. now, before y'all got on the show, that y'all could have hooked it up if it was really a thing. But he says she's making it hard for him. He does tell her about Dakia, because she's like, okay, so you making connection with anyone? He was like, yeah, she was my first date. We have had, really good conversations. And I guess something came up where there was a kiss across the table. And, she said, Carmen, now this is what I didn't like, is because she's like, well, I don't blame it. If you put it out there, a man gonna take it. It sounds desperate to me, all this stuff. So I was like, you don't gotta knock her for getting to know this guy just because you like him. She's like, he's mine. If I wanted Eric, then I would have Eric. And I'm thinking well, if you want Eric, then have Eric. I don't even understand why it's all this energy when Dakia isn't really giving her the energy. You came on late to the show. She was already here. When Eric came, she was his first date. She had no idea you guys even knew each other or liked each other. So I ain't really feeling Carmen's energy there. He was like, Carmen, you on top, and I like it when you on top, with the little innuendos again. And she definitely liked to hear it. Okay, next up is Demetrius. So y'all know him and Sabrina been rocking at the truth or dare game at the pool party. They asked her to, I think, nibble on the ear of the guy that she was most attracted to. She nibbled on Demetrius's ear, and then he also kissed her back in return with the same question when they asked about him to kiss the person he was most attracted to. So he wants to go out with Tina. He said, Tina, the pool party was his first time seeing Tina because she was new on the scene. And he said she looked very attractive and he was attracted to her. Now, mind you, everybody was at the pool party. So Tina said she didn't know if Demetrius liked her. He is her type, but she didn't know if he likes her because he didn't even speak to her at the pool party. He said, you know what, that is my bad. I did not. And she was like, whew, Lord, she came in real hot. Talking about, well, at the pool party, y'all was nibbling and kissing and all this stuff, so you got real player vibes. And I was like, but how? One person nibbled his ear when they asked the question, and he reciprocated. So how does that even give player vibes? But I think what she didn't know is that they were going out with their number two. So she's probably trying to figure out, why are you going out with me when you so into Sabrina? That's maybe where she was going with it, because I was showing like, it wasn't like a whole lot of women. She was just basically like, you telling all these women something. He was like, what, wait, pause, pump the brakes. Like, why can't it be that I'm just know what I want and I'm being transparent about that? And why does it have to be like I'm a player? Anyway, they get over their hurdle because she was like, I did come in hot. I was like, yeah, girl, because it was not even that deep. You just got here. Just asking what his connections are, see if he honest, and then keep it moving. Anyway, they do end up getting deeper in their conversations and talking about, transparency and consistency is what she would need out of this. And is he still open to dating other people and making new connections? And he said he is. He likes her. She likes him. I'm like, okay, cool. But him and Sabrina talk all the time. Okay, next up is Donovan. So Donovan is new. Him and Tina came the same day or the same week, and the pool party was their first interaction with everybody. So outside of there, I think they had blind dates with two different people, a girl and a guy. But the first time seeing everybody. So he takes this opportunity. I don't have no number two because I just got here, so I need to meet some people. So he takes 3 different women out on a date. He takes Sabrina, Carmen, and Daikia. Now again, he was there on the date, so he saw people like, hey, your strongest connection, go kiss them. Now mind you, this is his first week there, so he has no connection. So he was like, I don't know if these people are like serious, or they just saying this is who I'm feeling the most at the moment, or if they're open to these connections. So he just wanted to get in there, see if they vibe, see if they had connections, see if they wanted the same things, and see if they were actually open to new connections this late in the game. So him and Sabrina have really a good conversation. They have a lot in common. They're both divorced. He says he co-parents his daughter with his ex-wife, and it was just a lot that they had in common. She was like, oh, I feel like you up here read my life story. He says, I see why she is a catch, and he definitely wants to go out with Sabrina again. He really liked Sabrina, and she was like, I'm sitting here talking to him. If I had 1 or 2 more drinks, would I have sex with him? She's like, probably. I need to go home. So this is to the confessional. She did not say this to him, but she's feeling him just that much. So I was like, oh, Tori, first of all, Demetrius already out, numbered you. And then, so y'all better be looking at y'all number 2s for real, because it looked like Sabrina and Donovan really got a true connection off that. Okay, then he goes out with Daikia. She asked him what he wants in a woman. He was like, somebody that's ambitious and hardworking. He's like, I know this sounds like a job interview, but that's not what I mean. I think he's a realtor. And then he was telling her like his love language is words of affirmation and physical touch. So she's like rubbing his knee, like, oh, so I should tell you how handsome you are as I rub your knee. I was like, okay, you getting real fresh, Daikia. But anyway, they seem to have a cool connection, but not as much as Sabrina and Donovan. Okay, thirdly, he went out with Carmen. And Carmen, she just gives very masculine vibes. She gives very assertive, sexual, and like, okay, her and Eric, y'all known each other for a while. Y'all interact like this, but she does it with everybody. So it was her birthday. He had them bring her cake, and she blew out her candles and all this other stuff. She did the little sexy talk with him too. They did seem to have a good vibe, but you could tell, like, with Sabrina, he was being the masculine energy, and with Carmen, she was kind of being the masculine energy. Okay, so I guess it just depends on which one he likes, but what he really did say, while he has a lot of sexual chemistry with Carmen, he knows why that Sabrina's a catch, and he would like to go out with her again. He didn't really say much about Dakia. Next up is Clifton and Dakia. So Clifton does take Dakia out, and he says she gives him a 9 to 5 attitude. Like, he feel like she just all work and no play. Basically, that's what he said. Because with him and Joy, they be like playful and everything. But Dakia shows him a different side of her this time. She is very playful. She's like giving him the like innuendos back, and when he gives it to her, she's giving it right back. And he was like, okay, I like this. He was like, oh, we got the oysters here. You know, you need to let your hair down, all this stuff. She's like, I don't really like oysters, but I have one for you. He's like, let me feed it to you. So he feeds it to her. He's like, oh, that was real sexy or whatnot. So, you know, she said, you want to put something in my mouth? He says, of course I did. I said, Lord, we done went all the way too far, honey. But whatever. He likes her now. Well, he already liked her, but I think he saw another side of her. And he was like, okay, it's not just all work and no play. So, yeah, his number 2 strengthened him. Okay, next up is Laverne. So, Laverne, this threw me off. He keeps saying Joy and Ace are his top. But remember, he been saying Ace was his top the whole time. She all this other stuff. But he takes Ace out on a date. So I'm like, Laverne is not about this process. Because Joy would have been your number 2. Really, like, not Ace. Ace is your number 1. But he's like kind of they neck and neck. So he brings her some body butter or something. He's like, I know you like this kind of stuff. Let me rub it on you and all this stuff. She's like blushing and enjoying it. And she was like, you know, that's one of my love languages, you know, acts of, she didn't say service though. She said acts of kindness or acts, whatever. She was like, it's not about the money. It's just about something that I like. And he's like, yeah, I'm already thinking about a Christmas gift for you. Like, they just taking this relationship on. So she was like, okay, where do we go from here? Because she said he does make her feel giddy like a schoolgirl. Of course, he was like, you know, you are someone I really like. He said this solidified that she was his choice. But I'm like, Laverne said that she was his choice like 2-3 weeks ago. So he just playing alone at this point, I think. So she said, where do we go from here? He was like, well, if you want to tell people that I'm for you and you down for me, then we could just do that. We ain't really gotta, you know, do nothing else. And he was like, I already think about what I'm getting you for Christmas. And she was like, I know we talked about getting a tree, but he was like, no, I'm farther along. So it sounds like he really does like her. And I think what he really knows is that Joy likes Clifton. That's who she kissed when Laverne asked her go kiss the person that you got the strongest connection with. He probably was looking for a kiss and it was not him. So Ace is probably is his number 2. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, he probably would have liked Joy, but Joy liked somebody else, so he like Ace too, so he's gonna pick her. So they do that. Next up is Tori. You know, Sabrina's his number 1, but she already made it clear that Demetrius was her number 1. So he takes Precious out. Now remember, Precious was on the verge of going home last week. They said she a party girl, and you know the men, they over that stage of their life, and so she gets there, and Tori says like, they used to have a good connection, but then it's like they talk every now and again, and it's very surface level. But when they start, Tori starts out with a shot. So I'm like, okay, y'all want to call her a party girl, but then you treat her like a party girl. So they have a shot. They try to talk. She actually tries to get deeper in the conversation, and he brings it back to like, let's have another shot. So now they on shot number 2. I'm like, okay, y'all literally put her in this box. Tori, you especially. You said she didn't have no substance. It's only surface level, but yet you're not even answering her questions when she asking you real true questions. And she's getting a little bit annoyed by it. You can kind of tell, but she goes on and obliges and has the shot or whatever. I don't think he really ever answers her questions when she was asking him stuff. He makes sexual jokes about her kidneys or she said, I just don't know if we should be best friends or sex friends or whatever. He's like, oh, if we sex friends, and something about rearranging her organs. And she was like, he got to finish with kidneys. Like, he always talking about, I don't know what he think he worked with, but he think he finna be rearranging people's kidneys. And she looked annoyed. When they took the second shot, he like kisses her. She said, I don't know where that kiss came from. And it just kind of was, hey, let's take a shot, kiss, and like across the table. And she was like, okay. But he says there was no spark, so Sabrina is still his number 1. So I was like, I don't even know if Tori was trying. He just picked any old body that he didn't think nobody else was going to pick because he didn't have a number 2. That's really what it boils down to. Okay, guys, now they're back at the gentleman's lounge. So all the fellas are there, and basically everybody feeling Tommy in on what's going on. Eric says again, Carmen came out of nowhere. He already liked her, but now, he really like her. He still like that kid. Clifton says, you know what? That kid showed me a different side of her, so I really like her too. I still like Joy, but I really like her too. They moving up. They neck and neck. Donovan says he likes Sabrina. They got that Cali bond. They had a good time. But he also likes Carmen. Laverne says, basically it's him and Ace. She is peace. She's all this. He's thinking about the future. They want to be together. And then he got the nerve to tell everybody else. Fellas, I'm going to give y'all some advice. It's okay to tell these women that you want them, you want to pursue them, and only them. And so Eric looks away. Tommy's like, Eric, you got something? Eric was like, I don't need the advice. That's all I got to say. Then Demetrius was saying something. He was like, yeah, we know what we're doing. Like, we don't need you to tell you. When you speaking like for everybody. When you just speaking for yourself, because you really only got one connection. That's why you saying what you saying. And nobody wants Ace, so really you don't got to say nothing. So it was a little back and forth between Demetrius and Laverne. I'm like, okay, maybe they not vibing. Anyway, we gone down to, okay, who are your top people? Tori said, of course, Sabrina, and Demetrius also said Sabrina. The other guys had pretty much given theirs when they talked about their dates. Who's on the bottom? Demetrius says Precious. Donovan says Precious. Tori says Precious. Laverne says Sabrina. Just ain't nothing there with him. Paul says Joy. Eric says Joy. And Tori says Joy. Now, I think I forgot, but Paul actually went out on a date with Joy as his second choice, which I was thrown off because I thought he liked Precious and Tina, but I think Precious turned it off, and then so he was going to go to Joy. Joy was like, I don't even know why he's going out with me. Like, we're platonic. This is clearly a platonic date. She asked him about how he feel about everybody else. But so those are the vibes that Joy has been giving off to all of the guys except for Clifton and maybe possibly Laverne that she still kind of sort of likes. But she not checking for them. She let them know it's really just friends. So that's what the guys basically felt like. She picked who she wants, and that's it. She not really here for us, so we're not checking for her either. So Joy and Demetrius go out. And she's like, I don't even know why this is. He knows that this is platonic. Like, I don't like him. We don't even have conversations like that. So I'm like, again, this is exactly what they're saying, Joy. And then Precious goes out with Clifton. She was weirded out. She kind of had an inkling, though. She's like, yeah, Clifton and we ain't never went out. We don't really talk like that. So this is strange. So anyway, Joy basically talks. She's very confused by why they even on a date. And she says, like, okay, I'm curious. Do you think we have a connection? He's like, well, I do. I just want to see if you do. And she was like, no, there is nothing. She shuts it down again. She was like, and so he said, okay, well, we had a deliberation. And basically the men think that you have settled, you have chosen, you know who you want. And she says, I'm kind of getting bored with the whole process. And I just want to focus on, building my thing with Clifton. I think she had told Paul that on the date. And so he's like, yeah, so basically that is exactly what the men are saying. And they don't think you have anything left for them. And she was like, yeah, I'm pretty much going to start winning y'all off because I'm not feeling y'all. The people I'm feeling, they know, and that's who I'm working with. So he probably really wanted to be like, girl, you ain't ready to love. But, I mean, she is. She just knows who she wants, and it's early in the game. And so she got to kind of be careful with that unless she will get sent home like Camille did last season with Cornelius did, because they only had honed in on one another. Okay, because Clifton still got other connections. So if she leaves today, he'll just go with Dakia. We already know. Okay, so anyway, she flipped the script on Demetrius. Like, who said you're ready to love? Do you even have any connections here? He was like, let me just stop this. This is what the guys decided. It was consensus, and we feel like you are not ready to go today. So she was like, okay. She gave him a hug. And then she was like, sorry, not sorry. I know I went hard on him. I was like, Joy, calm down. Okay, Precious and Clifton. Basically, he tells her the same thing. Like, it's this party thing. She was like, there's one person that keeps spreading that same narrative, and it is Demetrius. And I don't like it. Clifton was like, okay, well, I really don't know personally, but okay. But basically, instead of him saying you don't really have a strong connection here, he went with that party thing and that pissed her off. But she was real classy about it. He was like, you are not ready to love. Your journey ends here. She was sad. Like, I don't agree with that, but whatever. Went on about her life. And then there was a ladies' lounge. I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be like scenes or next week. There was a ladies' lounge and everybody was in there. And Tommy was like, hey, how y'all all doing? Is everybody okay? And then Zakia was like, no, Tommy, I am not. He was like, okay, this sounds serious. What's going on? And she basically says that there was an incident with Eric. Remember, Eric was her number one, and she was his number one. And she said, due to that, she does not want to be around Eric anymore. And yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. They do show clips and he's saying, things went left. And Carmen was like, what's going on? That was her number one. She does not want to date him anymore. She does not want to be around there. And she has to determine if she wants to even stay a part of this process. So I don't know what happened, if it's another field situation. But what I will say is it's going to be juicy next week. So y'all need to tune in, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what y'all think about this episode in the comment. And let me know what y'all think Eric did. Hit that notification bell so y'all can be notified next time when I tell y'all exactly what he did next week. Okay, guys. Until next time. See ya.